So when I heard that Terminator 2 was going to get a sequel, I was like, oh my god, how are they gonna top that? The answer is simple, they didn't. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Now, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines is the first movie in the Terminator franchise not to be directed by James Cameron. It was actually directed by Jonathan Moto. I hope I pronounced that correctly. The film stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kristanna Loken, Nick Stahl, and Claire Danes. Terminator 3 follows the story of John Connor yet again. This time he's a bit like a bum. He's like Kanan Kung Fu or Samuel L. Jackson at the end of Pulp Fiction. He walks the earth, he's a bit of a loner, he's depressed, and still burdened by the stuff that happened in the last movie. He's still unsure about the future, and he's right, because turns out Judgment Day was never prevented, it was only postponed. The machines sent a highly developed Terminator called TX, played by Kristanna Loken, back in time to take out John Connor and all of his future lieutenants. The human resistance, on the other hand, again reprogrammed a Terminator played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in order to protect John and a woman called Kate Brewster, who's played by Claire Danes, who is not only part of the future resistance, but might just be a love interest for John. And that's our movie. Now, Terminator 3 is very, very different from the first two. It's essentially the Jurassic Park 3 of the Terminator franchise. Worse in every way. But let's talk about the good stuff first. Arnold Schwarzenegger clearly has fun with the role of the Terminator. He's still committed to action. He's committed to physical humor, even though most of the humor does not work in the film. But he's just having a great time. The second thing I actually love about the movie is the entire third act. Because so much stuff happens, and when it all reaches the finale, you're like, ooh, that caught me off guard. That's actually a twist. That's actually clever. Apart from that, there's nothing I like about this movie. Why? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the characters. This is Arnold's movie. He's the only character I sort of like. But again, they managed to fuck up the Terminator himself a little bit. On numerous occasions, they tried to make him funny, and it just doesn't work. It's not like in the second, where he was the fish out of water situation and acted weird. No, it's completely unorganic and just weird. There's this one scene where he just puts on a pair of sunglasses, but they have stars and they look gay. So he throws them on the ground because apparently the Terminator knows about fashion. Yeah, that's stupid. The same goes for Kristanna Loken's character, who I absolutely hated in the movie. She is the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. She has to be bigger, she has to be better, she has to be more badass than the T-1000, and she just feels forced in every way possible. First of all, her facial expressions, they annoyed the living shit out of me. She's always smiling and having a good time when she kills someone. However, she's a machine, she shouldn't enjoy anything. When the T-1000 smiled, it was only when he tried to blend in, mimicking other human beings in order to ask them about John. She essentially is the girl from Species. She acts like an evil alien, not like a machine. And she also knows about fashion and beauty, weirdly, because there's this one scene where she looks at a billboard, sees a model on it, and she's like, I could look like that. And all of a sudden, she uses her breast-growing abilities to make her boobs bigger. Yeah, they went there. Seriously, Michael Bay, did you write this movie? I mean, the only thing that's missing are racially offensive stereotypes.
Oh, look at this motherfucker! Mean robots suck!
And yeah, the excitement is completely gone. In the other two movies, I was on the edge of my seat even before the action happened. Just the hunt for Sarah, the hunt for John, was exciting as hell and built up perfectly. In this movie, it just all sort of happens. It kind of happens and okay, you roll with it. And the action is completely abysmal. What also differentiates the action sequences in this one from the others is the over-reliance on CGI. And that's not a good thing. Every time Kristanna Loken does something, she just magically turns her hand into something that's supposed to be amazing, but it's not. It's stupid. And yeah, let's take a look at our two lead characters. Nick Stahl as John Connor, well, he sucks. I'm sorry to be that honest, but he just does. He's not interesting. He's not a deep character. He's not an emotional character. And he's also not a badass, which is something that he should start to be already, because he's a grown-ass man and he's supposed to be the leader of the resistance. 3 movies in and I still don't know what makes this guy so special. And it shouldn't be that way. And Claire Danes' character? Wow! Stereotypical, sterile, stiff, and uninteresting character. And these 2 leads have shitty chemistry. That's right, I did not care about the leaders of the future resistance. They seemed to me like victim number 1 and victim number 2 in random horror movie. And it shouldn't be like that. They should not be expendable, but they totally are. But bitching aside, the 3rd act actually has some redeeming qualities. The climax is exciting and the very finale has some twists and turns that I totally did not see coming and that I actually appreciated. I know a lot of people that view this film as a guilty pleasure, and I see why. As your average stupid action flick, it sort of gets the job done, but as a Terminator movie, it's an insult. Which is why Terminator 3: The Rise of the Machines doesn't get a medal at all, because Terminator 3 is a time stealer.
How dare you insult my movie? I told you I'd be back.
It is what it is. So yeah, now that the trilogy is out of the way, next up, Terminator Salvation, which is probably the most hated installment in the franchise. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then just subscribe.
No, I told you I'll be back, and I'll be back in Genesis and you'll love me again.